Okay. You guys, why do I pre-film things and then never use the footage, ever? Wow, it's me, By Book Boy, who's starting spooky season, halfway into the month of October. Who has a booktube channel where all he talks about is horror books anyway? Am I gonna change for any of you? No! Last week, Netflix released The Haunting of Bly Manor. This is the second adaptation of Turn of the Screw to come out this year, which is all fun and games and exciting. So I decided I would read The Turning of the Screw, and then by Henry James. Because I hadn't read Gothic horror in a while, and I love Gothic horror. Like, I love Gothic horror. The clothes are beautiful, the architecture is beautiful, the ghosts are beautiful. It's great. So I did. And Barnes & Noble had a little handy copy with all of the ghost stories that the earlier film The Turning and then last week's show Bly Manor was based off of. So I bought them and read them, and this is what I think of them. But first, if you're new to this channel, my name is Logan and welcome to the By Book Boy. I'm a chaotic bisexual. I read books. Right now I've been talking about books early in the morning with coffee because I don't have time management skills and I work, so let's do this. First we're going to talk about the book, then we're going to talk about my thoughts on the TV show. I kind of like that pattern. I'm kind of enjoying doing book to movie comparisons. Like we did The Shining, we did I'm Thinking of Ending Things, we did American Psycho, now we're going to do this one. Maybe if I read the book The Exorcist by the end of the month, we'll do it, or we could save that one till Christmas. Is that sacrilegious? I don't know. Anyway, this specific copy at Barnes & Noble is titled The Turning. It says Ghost Stories by Henry James. Yeah, it's really good. It's got The Turn of the Screw and The Romance of Certain Old Clothes. It's also got Sir Edmund Orme, which is really good. They've got Owen Wingrave, and if you know who that is, then you know who that is in the book. The TV show makes all of these things happen at Bly Manor. The only one that happens at Bly Manor in the actual ones is The Turning of the Screw. Turn of the Screw itself as a story was actually a lot shorter than I expected and not nearly as in-depth. I really enjoyed the ambiguity of the ending because you don't know if the au pair is crazy or if she's actually seeing all of this ghostly shit, which is fun. I also enjoyed the way that they made Mrs. Gross not seem nearly as creepy. Henry James's Mrs. Gross is not nearly as scary as all of the film adaptations versions of Mrs. Gross, in which she's like the scary housekeeper, except for the newest one. I like her in the newest one, but usually it's like creepy. The kids are far more creepy in the novel just because they're like, well, no, that's a lie. The little Flora is not creepy in the novel because she honestly doesn't have that much page time, to be perfectly honest. Miles is creepy, but it's honestly left up to interpretation until like the very last page, whether you're like, sir, are you possessed? Or are you just a creepy sexual predator and a child at the same time? Because it's creepy. I enjoyed it. It wasn't scary. I actually think The Romance of Certain Old Clothes is a far better written ghost story and a far scarier ghost story, and I really love that they made that the basis for like the springing ups of all the hauntings at Bly Manor. We'll get into that later. Yeah. The Romance of Certain Old Clothes is terrifying, and The Turn of the Screw is just slightly unsettling, so come at me. I also enjoyed Owen Wingrave's story. It wasn't nearly as... They definitely took some liberties in the TV show for sure, but I kind of enjoyed said liberties. It was good. While they were not all written to have originally happened in the same house, I really enjoy the concept that they did, and I enjoy what they did with it on Netflix. I guess let's move on. This is going to be a really quick video. I'm down for this. Oh yeah, I am wearing Pat Benatar on my shirt this week. I'm sure you can't see it because the last time I met last week, I mentioned my ABBA shirt and you could see like that much of it. It was like maybe Igni's head, but it's fine. Okay, so I loved what they did with Danny the au pair in that TV show, Haunting of Bly Manor. Is very queer-centric. It's very Representation is there. It's really wonderful. I would not call this a horror TV show. I would call this a love story. I also enjoyed that each episode was titled after one of Henry James's ghost stories, and it had an element of like said ghost story in the plot. I do still think the most terrifying part was when we get to episode 8 and it's Viola from the Romance of Certain Old Clothes, because her story is terrifying. The way they did the hands at the end in the chest was so scary, and also very, like, it was like straight out of the ghost story, the novel, Henry James's original novel, and it was really good. I also really loved the fact that now this is not exactly stated, but I believe that the very last episode, no spoilers, I'm not gonna say what the plot is, but if you know, then you know. I think that Danny and Jamie's story arc in that episode is very much a metaphor for relationships with people with Alzheimer's and what it is like to lose someone to said disease. And I may just be projecting my own shit onto television, which I do a lot, which is why I have this booktube channel. But I thought it was great and I sobbed. Also, Owen Wingrave's whole, like, looking at his doppelganger thing and whatever was really cool. It took me a while to realize that it was his doppelganger, because I watched, like, the first half of the TV show, and then I read the novel, and then I went back and watched the second half of the TV show, because, again, time management skills. They do not exist. I also don't remember what I was going to say. Oh, Mrs. Gross in this was so good, because I've seen this one, and I saw The Turning, and then I also saw The Innocents. The Innocents is like one of the first film interpretations of The Turning of the Screw, and that one's terrifying. But in all of these, Mrs. Gross is like this scary person in the back, and she's like, oh, the children are so perfect, and I'm totally alive, and there's nothing scary going on in the house, you're just crazy. But in this one, Mrs. Gross is actually like a really cool person, and they're very much like, they're a team, and they feel united, and they feel like colleagues rather than enemies, and I really love it. I also just enjoy the motherly aspect that the actress brought to this. She and the cook really do, I think, capture the, like, mom and pop, like, we've been in this house forever, we will be in this house forever, we take care of its residents, we are the real parents here sort of vibe, which is great. I love it. Oh my god, they could do like a Real Housewives TV show, but like have it be like the Real Housekeepers, like the real parents. I don't know what I'm doing, it's fine, it doesn't make any sense, we'll just edit that out. Yeah, it's good. I enjoy Mrs. Gross as a character in the Haunting of Bly Manor a lot. My god, you guys, this is such an unfocused video. I'm just spewing my thoughts because I love it. I also really enjoyed the narration, specifically because a lot, like a good not all of it, because they took certain liberties with the story for sure. There's a lot of stuff that was added in here that was added in the Netflix show that is not in any of these ghost stories, at least that I read. But a lot of the narration is taken out of that, I guess, spoiler alert, that the old woman at the beginning, who we'll later find out is Jamie. Don't tell anybody that. My roommate's like, we're still watching this show, it's fine. Shh. Most of her narration is taken out of this book, and it's beautiful. I also think that was one reason why it was more atmospheric than scary, whereas I think Haunting of Hill House was just fucking terrifying. This was atmospheric because we had that narration going, and there's just something about a British person or a Northern Irish person narrating a book or narrating a movie that calms me down and takes the worry out of my bones for a second. I do like how this TV show tried to explain why they were possessing the children, because, I mean, all of them try to explain why Mrs. Jessel and Peter Quint are possessing the children, but it's never really explained. Whereas here, with this TV show, they're like, it is explained. They're becoming one. They're trying to get out of the manor or whatever. They're creating a split personality or whatever. And I enjoyed that because it gave depth to Mrs. Jessel and Peter Quint that aren't usually there in any of the other interpretations that I've seen, and it also is not found in this. We don't ever find out if they actually are possessing the children or if the children are just little shits in this, and I enjoyed that. I also really liked how they made Peter Quint and Mrs. Jessel, or Ms. Jessel, sympathetic characters, because they're usually like terrifying until the end when they're suddenly painted as dumb lovers, and you're just like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Why would you do that? Get a hobby. But I enjoyed that they made them humans and realistic, and it was good. Anyway, that's all for now. We can talk spoilers in a second video if you want. I have to go to work. If you watched to the end, thanks for sticking around and helping out. Oh, announcement time. Announcement. There's fun, exciting shit coming. And if you made it to this far, thanks for sticking around and helping out for a very decaffeinated version of the By Book Boy. If you want semi-regular chaotic bisexual content, follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Do all that shit so you can get my videos every single week and share my videos so that you can help the YouTube algorithm and we can grow the family. Thanks, darlings. Love ya. This has been the By Book Boy, and I'm saying bye.